Welcome to the Your Voice community, the only channel where your voice truly matters. Today we'll be going over the iPhone 8 Plus. Let me tell you how this was not easy because we're both Android users.
Now, I'll preface that also by saying that I own a lot of Apple products. You can see that my laptop is Apple. I just bought an Apple computer. You can actually check out the unboxing of that on our channel. I'll link that down below. So I'm not an Apple hater. I'm just not an iPhone fan. And I'll tell you why that I think you should kind of skip the 8 Plus. We're going to evaluate the phone based on 5 criteria. The first criteria is going to be performance. We're going to get into the design. We're going to get into the battery. We're going to get into the price. And then a wild card. So the wild card is the reason we believe you should either definitely skip it or definitely buy it. So let's get started. Okay, so let's get started with performance. First question here is really, did the performance improve that much over the iPhone 7 to warrant purchasing the iPhone 8? The iPhone 8 comes with the Apple A11 Bionic chip. The iPhone 7 has the A10 Fusion chip. The processor on the 7 is a quad core. The processor on the 8 is a hexa-core. There's a slight bump from 1.1 to 1.42. Both are 64-bit architecture, and both RAM are still 3 gigs. Again, it's not worth the upgrade for me if you already have an iPhone 7, or if you're coming from a lower iPhone. I think it's better to upgrade to the 7. It is an improvement in performance. Did it improve that much? I'm going to say no.
Yes, it did. I'm going to say yes. If you're someone that's comfortable with 6 Plus, 7 Plus, the 8 Plus is where it's at right now. If you're one of those people that likes to be comfortable yet upgraded, if that makes sense. The processor works incredibly. You can play your games, receive your phone calls / emails. You can even do your projects on the 8 Plus without skipping a beat.
That's true. And the camera itself, it stayed the same. So the iPhone 8 Plus has the dual 12 megapixel camera. The iPhone 7 Plus has both the dual 12 megapixel camera. Sensors are both the same. The optical zoom is about the same. Again, performance wise, I'm on the side that you can skip it because the performance upgrade is just not there to justify it.
He's not a big camera person.
That's true. That's true. I've said that before.
It can shoot up to 60 frames per second. And what that means is you can go ahead and be on the go while recording your videos. For example, if I had an iPhone right now, we could be in a car shooting our video without any delay, any problem, any skipping. This dual camera, at least, has surpassed already the 7.
The iPhone 8 Plus is 5.5-inch LED. It's backlit, 1920 by 1080 pixels. It's about 67.7% screen to body ratio. It's actually an all glass design as opposed to the iPhone 7, which isn't. I'm going to say that it's not that marginal of a difference. If you look at it, it looks like every iPhone they've ever made, but this one is just glass. It has that glass design for wireless charging. If you're somebody that doesn't care about wireless charging, it actually makes the phone heavier. It actually makes the phone bigger. So it's almost like you're going backwards a little bit. It looks nice, but it's not as functional as the 7.
Interesting enough. He's saying heavier. He's saying bigger. Yes, it's a monster phone. The screen is bigger. That's the bottom line. Screen is bigger. You'll notice a difference in picture quality. 1080p is no joke. It may not be the best of the best of the best tech that's out there, but it's pretty elite nonetheless. Not to mention that when it comes to heavy, look, you can go ahead to your grocery store and pick up a can of tuna. That's how much the iPhone weighs, or this iPhone. So I'm sure nobody's going to be suffering, even those with arthritis,
That's
you'll
true.
be fine.
That's true, but I don't think I'd walk into a grocery store and pick up a can of tuna for $799. It's a $799 can of tuna.
And I also don't think you'll be eating the iPhone anyway. So we're going to go back to tech and say that if you want to go ahead and record tuna jumping up and down, it'll feel very realistic. You can scare the pants off your kids if you show them Jaws coming after them through the screen.
Okay.
Let's get into the charging. Let's get into the battery life, because the wireless charging is an incredible feature. It has been. Look, this is the way technology is going. This is the way phones are going. 30 minutes for a 50% battery life.
I'm glad you brought that up.
As per the 8 Plus, which is outstanding.
I'm glad you brought that up. So you're saying 30 minutes fast charging.
Absolutely.
With the caveat that you have to have an additional piece of accessory that you're paying for. So most phones nowadays, it's going to come with the fast charging adapter right in the box. For some weird reason, Apple has put this feature in the phone, but is asking you, the user, to pay extra to access this feature that you want, and that is so important. Getting 60% back in 30 minutes is fantastic, but not if I have to pay an additional $50 to get that feature.
One, Apple people, Apple community, you should have these accessories already, because they're not going to go out of style, is what I'm saying. So it's necessary for the way of Apple life.
But then don't you think they're alienating the Android people who are thinking about switching over to Apple? That means I have to not only give up my Android, switch to a new ecosystem, but also I have to buy all these additional things to get the same functionalities that I had in the phone that I'm giving up.
Excellent point, and I'm going to break it down for you like this. Yes, you have to buy these extra accessories. That makes sense, but all things need accessories. That's just a selling point, right? So for you to discriminate against a phone over extra accessories, listen, buy the spinning rims or not, the car is still going to run.
This is such a weird argument. The argument is you're going to spend the money anyway, so why not spend it? That doesn't make sense. That's not a great argument for me. The argument should be it's something you bought for a large amount of money. It's got to come in the box because it's a feature of the phone. This is not something you're selling separately. They went out of the way to build it into the phone.
Okay.
They should give you the accessory in the box to access the feature that's already built into the phone.
That's called bad business, is what I'm saying. So I'd rather have a piece of tech that is capable of so much more, but at its basic core gives you a lot anyway.
64 gigabyte variant, which is the base model, clocks in about $799. The 256 will clock in about $949, whereas the 7 Plus, just as a reference, is going to clock in at $669 for the 32 gigabyte, and the 128 is $769.
And what he's talking about is storage, people.
Yeah.
So you store your pictures and you store your videos and that type of thing. He's talking about that without going into cloud. You know, this is just phone storage, right? For in layman's terms.
Correct. So this argument is easy for me. This is probably the easiest
you
one.
think so?
Because if you look at the 120 gigabyte storage variant versus their base 64 gigabyte variant, you're getting 128 gigs for less money than the 64 gigs. So if you're willing to spend that $799, you could bump that down to $769, get more storage, get the second fastest iPhone that's currently out right now, right, with the same camera, and you end up saving money.
Okay, good point. You'll but not to nickel and dime. For $100 more, you'll say 64 gigs is a heck of a lot of space to have on your phone, even if you never go up to 250. What is it? 256.
Yeah, but it's not more than 128. 64 is less.
Well, obviously, 8 Plus, you're good to go for years to come. Look, you can donate it to your children if you want as their first iPhone.
I'm sure Apple would love that.
Yeah.
Apple would love you passing on the technology from generation to generation.
Whereas the 7 is just a segue. Look, even the 6 Plus, the 6 Plus was a pretty good phone from the feedback I've gotten, but the 7 is a segue. It's just one of those phones to pass the baton to something like the 8 Plus. Buy the phone. Buy this phone. It's a quality phone. This is the alpha model. This is the phone that you want to invest in, because that's exactly what it is. It's an investment, not only for now, but for the future.
Not worth the upgrade because it's so similar to all the other iPhones that have been released. Only because within the next year or two, Apple's going to be releasing some new designs and hopefully redesigning the way that the iPhone looks without those huge bezels, and hopefully finding some way to integrate Touch ID because people love Touch ID. And for Android users, I would also wait because, iOS has become a little bit more forward thinking, but not there yet for them to make that defiant switch. I want to make sure that you have all the information you need to make a better buying decision.
Absolutely.
So we want you to go ahead and share your voice in the comments down below. Let us know if you're intending to buy it or if you're intending to skip it, which I suggest that you do. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you know when we shoot out a new video. We're trying to build a community of smart users here.
Absolutely.
As always.
Yep.
Until next time, remember, your voice matters.
Peace.